Let's bring our panel now. Democratic strategist Adrian Elrod, CNN political commentator and Republican consultant John Thomas. Also with us, criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool. So Brian, let's just start with you and some of the legal aspects that we're looking at here. Technically, the president can't actually fire Robert Mueller, the special counsel in the Russia investigation. In this case, it's only the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, because the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, recused himself from all things Russia. So the theory here is that releasing this memo showing that there's no basis for the Russia investigation lays the groundwork for Donald Trump to fire Mueller, but to do that he has to fire Rod Rosenstein. But essentially, are we looking at a situation where this has a lot more to do with politics and a lot less to do with law?
Yeah, well, John, make no mistake about it. This is a classic 12-round heavyweight prize fight, a boxing match between the FBI in one corner, and then you've got President Trump and most Republicans in the other corner. And I think what the Republicans and President Trump are doing in terms of posturing with this memo that's going to be released is they want to prove to people across the country and across the world that this investigation by Robert Mueller into the Russia meddling probe is not fair, that it's a biased investigation, and he's trying to prove that by virtue of something very important, John. I think there is a legal aspect of this matter, and that is, did the investigation have credible evidence to support a warrant of surveillance on Carter Page? This is very serious, John. A federal judge should not be basing a warrant on a dossier financed by Democrats, and really that's what this is about and what the Republicans are trying to do. It's a counterpunch to show everybody, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't fair, it's biased, and you don't have a true and clean motive to come after me, President Trump. That's what I think this is about.
Okay, well, the decision by the Republicans to release the memo, it comes against the recommendations from the Justice Department, and that point has not been lost on Democrats. Listen to this.
We had votes today to politicize the intelligence process, to prohibit the FBI and the Department of Justice from expressing their concerns to our committee and to the House, and to selectively release to the public only the majority's distorted memo without the full facts. A very sad day, I think, in the history of this committee. When you have a deeply flawed person in the Oval Office, that flaw can infect the whole of government, and today, tragically, it infected our committee.
So John, the Democrats had their own take, their own memo on what happened inside the FBI based on exactly the same set of facts that the Republicans have. The Republicans are refusing to release that memo by the Democrats. Why not put it all out there and let the people decide for themselves? What are the Republicans worried about?
Well, I think they're worried about the misinformation and clutter all at the same time. I have no doubt that counter memo will be released or leaked at some point. So why don't we take the memo that everybody seems to be objecting about, there's a bunch of fake news, let's take it, let's vet it and find out what it is, and then let's take the counter memo and look at that. I don't see why disclosure is a bad thing here. The more we hype up this Nunes memo, the more I need to see it.
Yeah.
The more the American public is dying to see what's inside this thing.
You said disclosure is not a bad thing, providing it's Republicans are doing the disclosure, not the Democrats.
Well, I don't mind seeing the counter memo. I mean, I
so you think they should do it together?
I do, although it certainly does muddy the waters and makes it just a giant news dump and harder to sort it out. I don't mind piecemealing it out. As long as both memos are released quickly, within a relative, within a week, then let's.
We got 5 days for this is a really bizarre administrative rule. I've never heard of this before, but the president now has 5 days to decide whether or not it will be released. Bloomberg has this reporting. President Donald Trump's frustration with the Russia investigation boiled over on Air Force One last week when he learned that a top Justice Department official had warned against releasing a memo that could undercut the probe, the Russia investigation. According to 4 people with knowledge of the matter, Trump erupted in anger while traveling in Davos after learning the Associate Attorney General, Stephen Boyd, warned that it would be extraordinarily reckless to release a classified memo written by House Republican staffers. Adrian, so given that, it seems pretty much a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump will release this memo regardless of the consequences to national security.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to give credit to his Justice Department for actually raising concerns that some of the information in this memo is classified. So, of course, those are legitimate reasons to not release the memo. But look, again, I want to take a step back here and realize we're talking about this memo and that memo and all these different, who said what and whatnot, when ultimately it is so disappointing that the President of the United States does not care about getting to the bottom of the fact that a foreign adversarial government, i.e. Russia in this case, was trying to influence our election process. It is something that we've got to get to the bottom of in order to ensure a fair and free democracy moving forward. And the fact that he's throwing out jabs, that he's criticizing anybody who he feels is not, quote unquote, on his side in this investigation to try to discredit Bob Mueller, who, by the way, is a Republican and was confirmed twice by the United States Senate
as FBI
director.
But it's not just about somebody not being on his side. It's the idea the Department of Justice and the FBI might have tried to hurt Donald Trump and inflict pain on a party they didn't like by abusing the powers of their...
What do you think Rudy Giuliani has to say about that in the FBI? I mean, Giuliani had it into the FBI, and there was all sorts of rumors
and it leaked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so
FBI.
I mean, maybe this goes back and forth, and maybe it is time for a house cleaning. I mean, at the end of the day.
Clearly McCabe felt that way.
Yeah, well, with McCabe in mind, somehow, the surprise announcement from the Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, that he was actually stepping down, this is all somehow linked in with this memo coming out, according to some. At least according to the White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, she talked about the fact that there's been total transparency here, and the White House had nothing to do with McCabe's decision.
We have done everything we can to be fully transparent, and we're going to continue to do that throughout the process.
But what about this notion that the president has been applying pressure for months, steady pressure?
The only thing that the president has applied pressure to is to make sure we get this resolved so that you guys and everyone else can focus on the things that Americans actually care about, and that is making sure everybody gets the Russia fever out of their system once and for all, that you're all reminded once again there was no collusion.
Brian, did Sarah Sanders then actually admit that the president has been, trying to end the Russia investigation, trying to bring some pressure to bear on that? Did she just throw the president under the bus for obstruction of justice?
No, John. Wait, I don't think she was doing that, but she better be careful next time, though. No, I think what she's trying to say is, look, President Trump wants a fair investigation into the Russia meddling probe in the election. And I think what happened with McCabe, John, I don't think President Trump picked up the phone and said, okay, get rid of McCabe. I mean, this guy he's going to be retiring in, 6 weeks? Why would Trump do that? Plus, it makes Trump look like he is obstructing the investigation if he tries to have McCabe thrown under the bus at this point in time. I think the truth of the matter here is that the FBI knows that there is a memo that is coming out any day now that is very damaging to McCabe, John. It's going to disparage him for alleged unsavory actions in the Hillary Clinton investigation. So I think that the FBI is letting McCabe go right now, and they're going to preempt any of the backlash from this impending memo that's going to be very damaging to McCabe.
That's the report from the Inspector General, which would be quite the backflip, given that Chris Wray, the FBI director, threatened to resign if they didn't let up the pressure on him to fire McCabe. That was just a couple of weeks ago, and now something's happened. He's fired McCabe. I mean, there is so much going on here that it is often difficult to keep up. Okay, we're going to move on now to the President's first State of the Union. That's on Tuesday night, or as the invitation called it, the State of the Union. There's something with spelling going on right now. Okay, this is what the President says we can all expect.
We worked on it hard, cover a lot of territory, including our great success with the markets and with the tax cut. And it's a big speech, an important speech. We cover immigration.
John, we're also being told that it'll be a kinder, softer, gentler Donald Trump. We're talking about bipartisanship. Let's all come together and work together and make America great again.
Well,
really?
I think you're first going to see Trump owning this economy, that this is his economy going forward. I think he's going to tout his success, which is fair. I also think he's going to claim that we need some bipartisanship, particularly on immigration. The deal that he offered in terms of offering almost 2 million Dreamers pathway to citizenship in exchange for border wall funding, basically he's calling the Democrats bluff. If they say they really want these Dreamers to have citizenship, he's putting a bipartisan solution on the table. I think he's saying, look, I need to make a deal here. We've got to get something done. I think the rest of the country will agree with him on that. I'm not so sure if the other half of the chamber will, though.
How did the wall go from $8 billion Well, 2 billion to 8 billion, now it's 25. But anyway,
Sounds
Adrian,
like government project
it's
to
already
me.
bloated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
How are Democrats going to respond to this call from the president after everything that's happened over the last 12 months to now let's all put that behind us?
Yeah, well, I'm a little less optimistic about the president being able to strike some sort of conciliatory tone tomorrow night. I think he is not going to be able to keep himself from going a little off script. I think that, Stephen Miller, of course, has been, I think, involved in the speech writing process. So the question is, is this more of a hard right speech, or are some of Trump's other influencers in the White House able to sort of strike that more bipartisanship, conciliatory tone that you speak of? But look, I'm actually looking forward to Congressman Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, from Massachusetts, giving the Democratic response. He's a young up-and-comer in our party.
Great-grandson or great? I've lost count, but
I think so.
Yeah.
But he is somebody who is certainly represents sort of the future faces of our party, the younger generation coming forward. And he is somebody who I think is going to go out there and really strike a bipartisan tone about how Democrats, who, by the way, have no control of the House, Senate, or the White House, would actually like to work with Republicans on a few issues to get things done, especially DACA.
The problem is that no one cares about the response. I mean, really, unless you, drop the water bottle.
Well, we also have a lot of
yeah,
response. Like Maxine Waters is on BET. You've got Congressman Kennedy.
Very quickly, I just want to finish up here with Hillary Clinton, because the 2008 campaign manager has been speaking out over the allegations that Hillary Clinton personally intervened to spare one of her senior advisors who'd been accused of sexual harassment. This is during her first run for president. Patty Solis-Doyle, she said to CNN that she was essentially disappointed with Clinton's reaction when the story broke. She tweeted out basically that she'd seen a story, took no responsibility, no apologies. This is what Patty said to CNN on Monday.
I was disappointed by that tweet, that response. It was the wrong call. I wish she had said it was the wrong call. I wish she had said, having to do it over, I would have fired him. I think that's actually true. I believe that she thinks that if I had to do it over again, I would fire him.
Adrian, there sort of is a pattern, though, here of protecting, men who be accused of sexual harassment,
no,
right?
not necessarily at all. No, absolutely not. I mean, first of all, I think Patty was spot on by saying she probably, now that hindsight is 2020, she probably would not have made the decision to keep him again.
Why not put that out on a tweet? Why not make that public?
We'll see. She probably will have more to say on this in the future. We'll see. But, again, I am tired of women being constantly blamed for the bad actions of men out there. We've got President Trump. We've got the ultimate sexual harasser in chief in our White House right now. So let's not make this about Hillary Clinton. Let's do all that we can to keep bad actors, such as the person that we're talking about, out of politics forever and frankly, out of the workplace forever.
John, you wouldn't make this about Hillary Clinton.
Well, no, I wouldn't. But no, it's the hypocrisy which is the problem. That her husband was accused of raping people, and they had a bimbo squad to discredit these women. Yeah. She was in a position of management, and she chose not to side with the woman. Yet she goes on the campaign trail in 2016 and says every woman has a right to be believed.
Does she get a break because
he was reprimanded?
Yeah, I was going to say, does she get a break?
And I would, if she just immediately spoke out. And now is better environment than there's ever been to say, I made a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. John and Adrian, and also Brian, for the legal point of view, we appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.